Call the meeting to order. Seeing no public, we'll move right to the legislative updates.
Great. Well, good morning. Thank you. So the lame duck session is hot and heavy right now. It got off with a bang last week with the pension reform. That's continuing to be the hottest, most controversial aspect of it. There's both the school retirement as well as municipal retirement. The Senate took up the school retirement, and to kind of go through, you might recall we had those we originally had some bullet points that the Talent Triangle was using as their gauge as to whether or not they'd submit it. So I thought it would be helpful for me to kind of walk through kind of those points and then give you the highlights of the legislation as we know it. You do have a bill analysis there in front of you. The one question was, does the pension benefits for existing employees, are they kept intact? And currently, under this legislation, they are. So current employees are not impacted by this legislation directly. Indirectly, they could be impacted, and I'll talk about that in a second. Does it offer a 401k style that's attractive? It does mirror the state retirement. Remember, many years ago, the state retirement system flipped from defined benefit to a 401k style. So it is actually considered to be a relatively attractive 401k style. The third item was the retirement contribution rates and the cost of a 401k style for new employees do not exceed the current amounts paid by district. This is where it goes off the rails. Right now, under the hybrid version of our pension system, a district contributes about 4.13%. This legislation, that cost would increase to 7%. The total cost to GRPS alone in over 5 years is $42 million. So this is not just a little hit. This would be a substantial financial hit. The main reason being is this legislation does not have a mechanism to pay for the additional unfunded liabilities. Remember, we're sitting at about $20 to $30 billion in the hole in unfunded liabilities right now. This legislation would extend that UAAL payment from 2038 to 2057, adding an additional $23 billion to that price tag. So this is bad legislation. The Office of Retirement Services, under the Governor Snyder's administration, have come out vehemently opposed to it. It did pass out of the Senate Appropriations Committee. It is sitting on the Senate floor. It is dying under its own weight right now, is what we're hearing, and it's rightfully so. I think once lawmakers really got a taste for the overall cost of this, they're really recognizing, at least in the short term, right now, you know, the hybrid system is on path to be sustainable within a period of time. This just throws everything into whack. So right now, we're cautiously optimistic that the fight is being fought well in the Senate, and that this could very well be stopped right there in its tracks.
Is Senator Hildebrand still on Senate Appropriations?
Senator Hildebrand is the chair of Senate Appropriations.
And so our senator representing the city of Grand Rapids and Grand Rapids Public Schools worked on this, approved it, and
Correct.
Sent it out?
That's correct.
Has there been any communications
Absolutely.
with Mr. Hildebrand?
Multiple.
That's especially discouraging, I feel, seeing how he represents the district, knowing how much it would cost us and impact children in the classroom.
Yep. We've certainly had the conversation with Senator Hildebrand. He's the chair of Senate Appropriations. We have to continue to maintain our relationship with him. His words were essentially leadership wanted to get it out of committee, so it was a legislative move, and then his final vote would still be determined. This was a high on the leadership's priority list, and so this is not uncommon to see the leaders of the committees and the Senate leadership on the floor to kind of continue to stay together. I think, again, it was kind of the aha moment as more and more details came out on this. I think the eyes are wide open now, saying maybe we need to hit the brakes.
So we don't know when there'll be a vote in the Senate?
This is lame duck. It could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, or it could not happen at all. Chris and Rusty are monitoring on a literally not just daily basis, hourly basis at this point.
Any further questions?
Questions on that? The other one is
I just have a question that's a little bit unrelated to the school, but how is it affecting the municipal pensions? Is it just certain cities, or is it all?
I'm not tracking that one.
Okay, never, yeah.
Sorry.
Sidebar.
I understand that it largely targets health benefits, but I mean, I'm about an inch deep on that at best, so I really just haven't focused on the municipal side of it. It's in the House. Police and fire have come out very strongly against it. Again, this is one of those where the approach that's being taken, I'd be surprised if it ends up getting passed, but we'll wait and see. Electric choice is the other kind of main, well, there's several, but electric choice is continuing to see action. To Chris Glass and his credit, he's lined up 40 Republicans in the House who have said they will not vote to approve this unless the amendment that would fix the problem for the schools is done. We continue to work with Winnie and with LeGrand to have them hold on to Democrat votes. Now, this is kind of the irony in this, is that we're struggling to hold on to Democratic votes to support our amendment. So
Explain, I mean, I know the answer, but explain why that's the
it's
case.
largely because there was a deal cut with the House Democratic leadership around alternative energy. And the goal was to increase it from 10% requirement up to 15%. The Republicans agreed to that, and apparently there were certain votes that were pledged as part of that. And I think that's where the struggle is that they felt like they got a deal on alternative energy. However, we're struggling to continue to get those votes for the amendment that would fix the problem for GRPS. Right now, this legislation, we're part of the Michigan School Energy Cooperative, and we save about $250,000 a year in our electric energy costs. And so this legislation would make it significantly more cumbersome, and it would certainly impact that money. We may still see some savings because as being part of the cooperative, but it would be less than what we're currently realizing.
I would think that there were other Democrats representing large urban districts that would be in the same conflict between environmental considerations, but then counter the loss to the school districts.
Sure.
Just wondering, Winnie and David are talking to them, or there's a sense of getting coalition with them.
Winnie has responded that she's very aware. David did not respond to me. I know that Chris has talked to David. David is a wonk on this. He is, according to Chris, is really working hard on his caucus. So we feel like the two are there. Chris indicated that I should reach back out to him again today and just say, hey, where are we at on this? What are you doing? And I'm not going to just text. I'm going to call him and just make sure to have a conversation with him. Interestingly, the pre-Labor Day school start is getting a hearing today. This is a bit of a surprise, but there's some more political gamesmanship that's being played with this one from our perspective, is that the author of the bill is a vote that they need, and so just miraculously his bill happens to be getting a hearing in the Senate today. So we're not very optimistic that there's going to be much movement on it, but it is one more thing that just happened to pop up during Lame Duck. This is consistent with your platform, and we are, in fact, Chris is planning putting in a bill or a slip for support. The other new curveball, and I apologize, we anticipate that this would be in House Bill 4605. This is an income tax shift legislation, and according to the fiscal agency, this is an accounting fix. Right now, the student school aid fund gets 23.8% of gross income tax collections, and this is, and I'm not as versed in this as I should be, but apparently when individual taxpayers file their taxes, there's various tax credits that can be claimed. Those credits come out of the general fund. The individual income tax credits amount to about 1.8 billion. What they want to do is have the credits come off the top of all income tax before it gets distributed. This would be a $400 million reduction to the school aid fund, a $300 per pupil impact to the district.
What's the rationale behind it? Why is,
Well, they're claiming, again, this is kind of a, hey, trust us, we'll fix it in appropriations. They're saying it's an accounting fix, that's a technical accounting issue, and that they would simply, it's kind of reshuffling the deck. It's, hey, we're gonna take from here, but we're gonna give back there. We certainly don't believe that to be the case. We don't have enough trust and faith in knowing that that's exactly how it would go down. If this is a necessary fix, we are arguing that this should be part of a broader discussion around overall funding formula for schools. That if we're gonna talk about these fixes, let's do it as one grand package that's gonna finally set the school aid fund in a stable and sustainable way.
so if this is an accounting fix, it's one that's gone on since 1994 when Prop A was passed, right?
I think so.
So who would benefit by this accounting fix? Pardon my cynicism.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's the issue. Nobody really benefits. It sounds, and again, not knowing enough about it, it seems that it is simply the Treasury wanting to clean up the books so it's cleaner. Again, this is one of those situations where it's just kind of the surprise lame duck. We are on the phones, we're really pushing to punt it, and we'll see. And that's really it. Chris indicated that he has been working on the expansion of the critical shortage list, remember, as part of our platform. You know, he's not giving up hope, he's still pushing. Senator Pavlov in the Senate is where that is stuck right now, and Pavlov is the individual who's wanting the pension reform to push, and he's holding off anything else until he gets the votes for that. And so we're not overly optimistic that the critical shortage is gonna go anywhere. And that's all I got.
What about, have you heard anything? I heard about it yesterday again when I was with the governor, about the proposed legislation.
Just rolling with the governor.
Yeah, just rolling with the governor yesterday. Just hanging with the governor. He actually gave a very encouraging pro-immigration public speech and how strongly he felt about it and how discouraged he was that the new governors were ignorant on immigration issues. Those were his words. So that was very encouraging, but his office was also talking about the proposed legislation on limiting refugee resettlement in the state of Michigan. And that certainly would impact our schools, given the number of refugees that we serve in our schools. I wonder if you had heard anything about that?
Other than what you forwarded me, I really have not, but I will follow up on that and see what I can find. You know, this is one of those where when the new legislative session starts, we have to brace ourselves, because the House is even more Trump aligned, if you will. And so we know that this fear factor around refugees has been injected into kind of the Republican mold, if you will. And so it's something that actually we, of all districts, have the ability and the relationships. Remember, that's been part of our strategy, has been building and maintaining those relationships. So that's something I think we can zero in on. Let me get more about the bill. We'll get with Rusty and Chris, and we'll just zero in on it, because it's one that I think they can see how GRPS benefits and how we serve those families and how it's an American thing to do.
Yeah, and to be in conversation with Mr. Goy as the head of the Michigan Office for New Americans and his strong Grand Rapids ties, I think would be helpful.
Great. It was a little bit more than 10 minutes worth of.
It was a lot of stuff though, John. I think it was important to hear, didn't you?
Sure.
One more week, we'll get through this week.
The pension alone, the pension
Yeah.
and the electric choice alone are pretty significant.
Yep,
So.
we'll get through, this week and next week, and after next week, by the end of this week, we probably will have a better idea if there's life to any of this. You know, again, we're really, as our good reporter from MLive reported, you know, we're feeling a little bit better about pension reform, right? The bomb dropped, then the dust settled, and everyone, you know, was able to really start to see what the potential long-term and short-term fiscal impact would be. And I think the more calmer, more rational minds are seeing this is not smart, it's not well thought out. There's too many unknowns, and there's too many, too large of a price tag for it to just flip in a 2-week period.
Okay, that's good. Maybe an update on Monday at the work session?
Yep.
Okay, that'd be great. Cool, all right, thanks, John.
Thank you.